I Swear is a really sweet British biopic about a topic which hasn't been covered to death and back. If you're unfamiliar with the film, it follows John Davidson, a man with Tourette syndrome, as he comes to terms with what that means and what he can do for others with the same condition. This film, like many I've covered, rests on the shoulders of the lead actor, and Robert Aramayo pulls off the performance without feeling gimmicky. There is a fine line when it comes to characters, especially those directly based on real people with neurological disorders. One where, once crossed, the performance ends up in a state of caricature, which can only feel painful to watch, not complimentary. On a very surface-level view of the performance, Aramayo does manage to play the tics and swearing as being a compulsory thing he has no control over. However, what's more impressive is his ability to keep the audience watching, not embarrassed and at arm's length away, but genuinely empathetic for him. True-to-life hardships are presented bluntly, without the sleaze some actors bring to a role like this, expecting to be nominated for industry awards because they took on a hard-to-play role. It also helps that, although the film does focus on a heavy topic, it is also a comedy. Not a laugh-a-minute slapstick comedy, but one which grounds John's Tourette syndrome into normalcy. By allowing it to come across as funny, the film is able to tackle societal beliefs around the disorder by attempting to shift the public opinion from being one of fear to one of acceptance by presenting it as being something which shouldn't be considered a danger. My only two issues with the film stem from the chronological structure of the film. One is through the central framing device. I don't consider this much of a spoiler because it is how the film opens, but the narrative begins with his awarding of an MBE by Queen Elizabeth, which is later on in his life. By opening the film this way, much of the story on a macro scale lacks stakes as it traverses through his life from childhood into adulthood. It doesn't affect the film scene to scene, the narrative still takes turns and is conflict and even elements of suspense throughout. It's just the fact that the filmmakers do show the end point of the linear narrative, which renders the overall stakes for what could happen kind of redundant. My other issue comes from a facet of the film's tone. I am aware that I praised it a moment earlier, but another tenet of it, which I find hard to fully articulate, is that it is a very British biopic film. With the risk of coming across as a bit apprehensive towards the atmosphere, it feels a bit twee occasionally. It's easier to pick up on when actually watching the film than having it explained, and I'm also British, so I get to say this without being dismissive. I mean, in many other instances, that might have been a major turn-off and put me off the film. However, considering the general obscurity of the topic, Tourette syndrome, in film, I can't really complain about that aspect, which is what makes this still a great film, in my opinion. Thus, with a genuinely astounding lead performance and a firm mastery of tone in conjunction with subject matter, I think this film is great. It's not preachy for the sake of preaching, but takes necessary care to educate the audience with a spoonful of sugar that is the comedy from character interactions. I Swear, 4 stars. Well, that's all. Keep on watching movies and form your own opinions. See you in the next one.